Have you ever watched the person you love become a complete stranger right before your eyes? I saw it in the pale blue glow of her phone screen at 2 in the morning. Sarah, my wife of 10 years, was asleep, but her face, illuminated by the device she thought was her private world, was twisted in a smile I hadn't seen in years. It wasn't a smile for me. The screen was angled just so, and a name I didn't recognize was bracketed by heart emojis. My world didn't just crack. It silently split into a million pieces right there in the stillness of our Chicago bedroom. I felt the air leave my lungs, cold and sharp, as I realized the last year of my life had been a carefully constructed lie. And in that moment I knew that discovering the truth was only the beginning. Uncovering the lie would be the end of her. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The change had been subtle at first. Girls' nights became more frequent. Late nights at her marketing firm, once a rarity, became the norm. When I'd call, she'd sound distant, her voice tight with an annoyance she barely tried to conceal. "I'm swamped, Michael." "Can this wait?" It always could. I was the patient, supportive husband. I'd have dinner waiting, her side of the bed warmed, oblivious to the fact that I was becoming a glorified hotel manager in my own home. The humiliation was a slow burn. Started with the little things, the way she de-angled her body away from me on the couch, the phone that was suddenly glued to her palm, screen down, always screen down. She'd laugh at texts, and when I'd ask what was funny, she'd wave a dismissive hand. "Just work stuff." You wouldn't get it. She was right. I didn't get it. I didn't get how the woman I'd built a life with could look at me with such cold indifference. The discovery began in pieces, a trail of digital breadcrumbs. A credit card statement I opened by mistake showed a charge for the Thompson Chicago, a boutique hotel on the Gold Coast we'd never been to. When I asked her about it, her eyes went flat. "That's a client meeting, Michael, and we're wining and dining the new account." The manipulation was seamless. She made me feel small for even asking, for questioning her loyalty. She was the breadwinner, the high-flying executive. I was just a high school history teacher. She wielded that difference like a weapon. The villains, her and this phantom from her phone, felt untouchable. They lived in a world of expensive dinners and secret hotel rooms, while I graded papers and wondered where my wife was. The breaking point came on our anniversary. I'd booked a table at our favorite spot on Rush Street, the place I'd proposed. She canceled an hour before, a clipped text message, her only apology. "Something came up, Raincheck." I sat in that restaurant alone, at our table, a single glass of bourbon sweating in my hand. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest. I saw couples laughing, holding hands, and for the first time, I let the tears fall. I wasn't just sad, I was broken. The man who walked out of that restaurant was not the same one who walked in. The loyalty had been burned out of me, replaced by something cold and hard. That night I stopped being a husband and started being a hunter. The first step was proof. I wasn't a tech guy, but grief and rage are powerful motivators. I bought a simple recovery software for her old phone, the one she'd carelessly tossed in a drawer after her upgrade. It took hours. But then, it all came flooding back. Texts, hundreds of them, photos, videos. The name was Mark, a senior partner at her firm, smug, handsome, and utterly oblivious to the storm that was about to break over his head. They didn't just talk about their encounters, they mocked me. "History boy is probably grading papers," one of Mark's texts read. "Hurry up," Sarah's reply. 5 more minutes of pretending to care about his day. I saved everything. Printed the bank statements, the hotel receipts. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop, who looked at my evidence with a grim nod. He got me the final pieces. Photos of them kissing in a parking garage. Walking into the Langham, their hands intertwined. The trap was being set. My lawyer, a shark in a $3,000 suit, laid out the plan. Illinois is a no-fault state, but infidelity can influence asset division, especially when marital funds are used to facilitate the affair. And Sarah had been reckless. The company credit card, the joint savings account, it was all there. We filed for divorce silently. The papers were served to her at her office, in the middle of a board meeting. The first crack in her perfect facade. But the real revenge, the social destruction, was yet to come. It was her company's annual charity gala, their biggest event of the year. Sarah was the keynote speaker. Mark would be there, his wife on his arm. I secured a ticket, and Sarah saw me walk in. Her face went white. She cornered me by the bar, her voice a venomous whisper. "What are you doing here, Michael?" I just smiled. "Supporting you, of course." During her speech, she talked about integrity, about loyalty, about the values of the firm. It was nauseating. As the applause died down, I took the stage, grabbing the second microphone. "That was a beautiful speech, Sarah," I began, my voice echoing through the ballroom. A confused murmur went through the crowd. "It's especially moving to hear you talk about loyalty. It reminds me of the loyalty you showed me when you were with Mark at the Thompson Hotel. Room 1208, wasn't it?" Panic flashed in her eyes. His wife stared at him, her expression crumbling. I wasn't done, or the Langham, or the Peninsula. "You used our savings, Sarah. You used the money we were saving for a house to fund this." I gestured to the screen behind the stage. "And just in case anyone doubts the integrity of this firm's senior partner," the PI's photos filled the screen. Gasps rippled through the room. Sarah stood frozen, her perfect life incinerated in a matter of seconds. Mark's wife slapped him, a sharp cracking sound that seemed to break the spell. Then she walked out. The room was a sea of phone screens, all pointed at the stage, at the wreckage of two lives. Sarah's career was over. Mark's marriage was over. They were completely, utterly ruined. I placed the microphone back on the stand and walked out without a backward glance. The divorce was brutal for her. The evidence was overwhelming. She lost the apartment, a significant portion of her assets, and her reputation. I see her sometimes, a ghost haunting the streets of a city that once adored her. She looks older, worn down by the consequences of her choices. There's no triumph in it, no joy. It's just a quiet, hollow emptiness where my love for her used to be. I rebuilt my life, but a part of me will forever be that man sitting alone in a restaurant, realizing he was a stranger in his own marriage. The silence in my apartment is loud, but it's better than the sound of a lie. The end.